just a couple of lessons, a couple of things that I really try to do as I'm teaching this class. In my life, I try to live by it, but I also try to do it when I'm teaching as much as possible. I'm never entirely fair. It doesn't matter what I do, that I'm never entirely fair. It's not possible to be fair. I have my own biases. I'm mostly an iconoclast, so I'm just naturally inclined to not take sides. I do have a side about justice or injustice and blind obedience. I have a problem with that, even though I see the benefit of it. But one thing is just really one thing that I've learned in my life is to be really careful about self-promotion. And so, for example, people do a lot of research on this about how people view themselves versus how they view other people. And one study not too long ago interviewed 700,000 high schools. Actually, I think 800,000. I don't know why I put 7, but high school seniors. And they asked them how good they were, how skilled they were at interacting or just being socially aware and in their sort of social abilities, right? How skilled were they in getting along with other people? And 99% of the 700,000 people said that they were above average. And 0% of all those high school kids said they were below average. 0%. So there's a natural inclination for human beings to elevate ourselves, to see the things that we do as not so bad and the things that other people do as somehow problematic. So, for example, if I get a job because of nepotism, because, I know somebody, and my uncle or my grandparent or one of my parents or my neighbor or whatever, they help me in some way, maybe get into a program or get an internship or do something. Somehow that's okay because they help me, and even though it's my grandfather or my grandmother or my neighbor, but I still deserve it because I'm smart, right? Because I help you because I know you, and you move forward with the internship, but you naturally are inclined to think you're smart, right? So you deserve it. That's how we operate. But we don't see that there are lots of other people out there who are just as smart or smarter. And thanks, dude. Hey, close your laptop, bro. Yeah, thanks, man. We're inclined to not see other people as equally as smart as we are or smarter. And when I think about that sort of thing as nepotism, and this is where we have to really start to think about things, well, that's like affirmative action, but it's affirmative action for me. So I get something because of who I am, somebody's friend, somebody's neighbor, somebody's grandchild, and that's it. That's the only reason I get it. But if we have some other kind of affirmative action program that helps somebody out who we don't know, like somehow that's a problem. But when it happens to us, it's okay. But when it happens to somebody else, it's a problem. And I think one of the reasons I teach this class, or one of the ongoing lessons I like to do, is always to kind of look back at ourselves. And for me, always to look at myself and look at the ways in which maybe some of what I do or some of what I get or some of what I have really isn't because I'm really talented or smart or brilliant or whatever the case is, but really it's just chance and it's luck and it's who I know and this sort of thing. And so that maybe I'm not above average in all these different ways. And what would it mean if I'm not? And what would it mean if I actually started to question some of what I am and who I am? And so, it happens even at the national level, right? So we in the United States, we talk about all the ways the Chinese are cheating and the Chinese are doing all these problematic things. And I remembered this story that in 2002 we made a airplane. Boeing made an airplane for the president, for the Chinese government, and we had we implanted 30 bugs, tiny microphones all over the plane, we're spying on them. We made it, and we wrote that this is going to be up front that absolutely we swore it would be a great plane. We're not going to do that. It's, this is the Chinese government is buying this plane for us, for their leaders. And yet we put these tiny little microphones in it to spy on them, even though we said we wouldn't. So they do it and we do it. It's not only just it's at every level it happens. So I'm more inclined to make excuses for my own government. I'm more inclined to think other people are doing the nefarious things. So, one of the things I have is like, well, no matter what happens, if you point a finger, 3 fingers are pointing back at us. And we really need to question. Like, you got to question. So, like, these folks here who have this, slavery never ended, it just evolved. Well, okay, that's good. It's good to talk about that. But what about the 3 fingers that are coming back at us? Like, what are they talking about? Are they talking about modern day slavery? Are they talking about sweatshops? Are they talking about the slavery in the cotton industry that is implicated in the clothing that definitely they're wearing? Are they talking about the slavery that's in the food they're using? Are they talking about the slavery that's in the cell phones that they all have? Because if you have a cell phone, you have slave-made products in this cell phone. That all of us have slave-made products that we wear. They're in our closets. If you eat chocolate, it's almost a guarantee that there are traces of slavery in your chocolate that you eat. You can't get around it. And so, wait, hang on. Are they talking about that? Like, what are we talking about? And so, like this, for example, here's Stan, right? Look at all those T-shirts, all those colorful T-shirts. It's like we all have to be thinking about this all the time. And, okay, Stan's a really good thing, right? It's a good thing. It's really nice. So, look, insecticides and pesticides. So, cotton makes up 2.4% of all of the agricultural products in the world. 24% of all the insecticides that we make in the world, carcinogenic insecticides, are used on the cotton crop. 11% of the carcinogenic pesticides. And here's how it gets applied in India. Okay? Here's how it gets applied in the United States. It's so dangerous that that's what you have to wear in the United States. Here's what you have to wear in India. Nothing. And all that product is coming back. And we all have it in our closets. Okay? And so here's children picking cotton. Face level, taking this in. All those insecticides and pesticides, all the poisons are coming into them. Right? And there's a cancer ward in India with those kids. Getting cancer from all the pesticides and insecticides that are being made to produce cotton, being made to produce the cheap T-shirts here. Because probably none of those T-shirts are pesticide or insecticide free. Because, we want to raise as much money as possible. So we want to make the money and have these lovely T-shirts and we want to pass them on, pass the profits on. Like, wait, hang on a second, what is that? Or this, sweatshops. Here's kids in India making T-shirts, making clothing. This is essentially slavery. And here's a sweatshop. You see what I mean? So we do good things and bad things happen. And so one of the things that I just insist on for myself is to understand the positive and the negative pieces of everything that I do. So it's like, wow, isn't that amazing that all of these T-shirts that we're buying inexpensively for $2, $3, $4 or whatever it is, inadvertently poison little kids on the other side of the world, and then keep them in sweatshop conditions. Like, come on, man. Seriously? And that's why this class, that's what I'm trying to always just go at things so that we have to stop and think about the implications. And then I think, well, why do I do that? Because here's The dominant belief in the world is what Christians call the golden rule. And we see this in every single religious and spiritual tradition in the world. And so, here it is in Islam. The golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. In Judaism, right? If it's hateful to you, it's hateful to your neighbor. In Yoruba, everywhere. Here's the common saying, right? If you're going to use a pointed stick, try it on yourself first. In Christianity, the law of the prophets, the golden rule. In Sikhism, everywhere. Confucianism, everywhere we see it. It's really fairly simple. Just treat other people the way you'd want to be treated. And take responsibility for understanding how other people are treated. So like the sweatshop thing. So, I've been talking about that for years. And trying to get in the Mahabharata, that's really cool. Trying to get people who are involved in Than to say, listen, the golden rule, treat other people the way you want to be treated. Like, how do you feel about the fact that you're raising money for children with cancer and wearing shirts that are made by children on the other side of the world who are virtually enslaved, living as slaves? It's like, how is that, man? How do you live with that? Well, you live with it because, A, you don't know about it. And if you do know about it, you turn a blind eye to it because we're busy doing other things. And if we don't turn a blind eye to it, we just sort of ignore it. And that's how most people get on in life and deal with all the things around us. And what I want to do in this class always is say, don't do that. Don't do that. The world is immensely complicated. Stay with the complications. That's what it is. All right, listen. Give me you can ask, I'll answer a few questions, and we have about 20 minutes, and I'll answer any question at all. If you got a question, here's your chance. Yeah, bro, go ahead.
So you mentioned how you're a libertarian.
Yeah.
Keep yourself grounded.
Yeah.
In terms of spirituality and religion,
What do I do in terms of spirituality to keep myself grounded? Well, I don't believe in a God. Like, I don't believe in a creator God. Like, it's not that I don't believe. I just can't get there. It doesn't make sense to me, right? One day when I was young, I realized, look, the vast majority of us, we're born into the religion of our parents, okay? And some of us at a very early age abandoned that, and many of you turned away from the religion of your parents, as evidenced by the last class. How many of you stood when I asked that question? But one day when I was, fairly young, I realized that sociologically, we're born into the religion of my parents. My parents were Methodist. I was born Methodist. Like, that makes no sense, right? It makes no sense. And then to believe that that's the only way to truth, it's like, that makes absolutely no sense, because I just happen to be born into this, so I'm like, okay. Like, that, it's just absolutely silly and inane for me, just for me. So therefore, I just let it go. And I said, well, I'm going to then embrace all the religions and spiritual traditions of the world. And so wherever I am, I'm at peace, right? So I had an experience in a Shinto temple in Japan one time where God entered my body. I knew God was in my body. I had an experience at a sweat lodge, a Native American sweat lodge, where my body was overtaken by another being, right? And it was like this, whoa, and I was like in the heavens, right? So I have those kinds of experiences to go on, right? I wasn't on drugs on either of those, by the way. So that's just how I do it. That's not how everyone has to do it. It's fine, just pick a religion and go with it, because they're all the same, really. You can say, okay, they're not the same. Well, I'm just speaking as a sociologist. They all have the golden rule. That's the only thing you need. Just embrace that. So, like, if you're really strongly Christian, if you're living with Christ, then you understand what it means to live with the Buddha, and you understand what it means to live with Allah. You get that. It's pretty simple, actually, and so that's what it is. So that's what I do. But I don't, It's fine for me. So I'm comfortable anywhere. I can be anywhere in any situation, and I can find God, even though I would define God differently than most people. Yeah. Somebody else. Who else has who wants to ask, who's got a question? I'll answer anything, man. I swear, any question. Doesn't matter.
I have one from the stream.
Go ahead, man.
Do you believe in free will? Unless if you already answered that kind of. I mean, you have throughout the semester, but.
Take this up there. Dude, here it comes. Turn it on. Stand up so we know, or raise your hand. Yeah. Listen, man, do I believe in free will? No, I'm a sociologist. There's no such thing as pure freedom. Everything we do is shaped by factors and forces around us. Every single thing. So I don't believe in free will. I don't believe in it. No. I mean, no. Freedom is an illusion, largely. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, bro. Yeah, you don't have to stand. I just wanted him to know where. Yeah, it does. Turn it on, but dude, push it forward. You good?
You just got to move the slider up.
Push it.
Got it.
There you are.
Do you smoke?
Do I smoke what?
Do you smoke weed?
Weed?
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal, man. So I'm actually a licensed Pennsylvania caregiver, and which means that I am licensed in the state of Pennsylvania to help people who have their medical marijuana licenses to purchase, I can purchase for them. I help them with, what to do, how to use it, dosages, all that kind of stuff. So I just happen to believe in that. I think it can be abused. I think it is abused a lot. I think, I think it's problematic. So yes, I am licensed. Yeah. Yep. And I do not test their medicine for them. I test my own. But but here's the deal, right? From a very early age, I recognized that, and I mean a really early age. I mean, I was like 14 when I had this idea because I lived in a world of a lot of drug use, okay? So at a very early age, I recognized that it was going to be much better for me if I could get high without drugs. So I spent my life searching for, really working on that. It's much better, man. It's less expensive. It's really cool. But some things are teachers. So yeah, go ahead, man. Yo, go ahead.
Hi. I was just wondering, why do you come back every semester? Why do you teach this class? Like, what is your motive? What are you trying to instill in people? Like, if you said last class that it's a lot. Like, it's a lot to manage this class. It can be difficult at times, but you continue to do it. Why?
Look, so first off, I'm actually really shy. Okay. So if you come to my house, if you see me, if I go to a party or something and I'm with like 10 or 15 people, I'm like I'm the quiet guy sitting off on the side. I don't like to be the center of attention. I really don't. Some reason in a class like this, it's theater. Like it's like opera. Like people who are into musical theater, and they're just normal people, and then you give them a microphone, and they break out in a song and a dance, and you're like, where did that come from? Musical theater people, right? So it's kind of like that for some reason. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I never chose to teach. I never thought it. I never wanted to teach. It's not what I would ever do. But for some reason, every time I tried to stop doing it, the life force, God, whatever, would just sort of push me back in that direction. So I just do it because I just don't do anything else, I guess. It's really pretty much that simple. Yeah. Yeah. Bro. Do you have Yeah, bro.
Coke or Pepsi?
Dude, Neither, man. I don't, unless I'm having a Cuba Libre, I never drink I drink probably 6 sodas a year.
Okay, but if you had to pick.
Coke, man. Yeah. Dude. Here.
So you talked about like getting naturally high instead of using drugs. So what's the best natural high you said you've like experienced in your life?
Well, it's like, look, all things is just a way to, all we're trying to do is alter our consciousness, right? Like little kids, everyone does it. Little kids do it. 3-year-olds, why do they spin around? They spin around to get dizzy because it's fun. They want to somehow alter their consciousness, right? It's just what happens. So any way to alter one's consciousness, like in some kind of way that just allows us to think or feel or experience life differently is where we want to go. So any way to do, there are 1,000,001 ways to do it, but one, minute, just experience your body. Just lay silently in bed and imagine that you're going to die any moment. And just feel that feeling of your last moment. And suddenly your body, it just changes. I don't know. You just keep trying things out. It's different for everybody. It's awesome. That's actually a cool thing. Dude, did you have it? Somebody? Go ahead. Yeah. Her.
What has been your most impactful trip that you've went on in your life? I know you talked about going to Iraq and places around the world. What's been your favorite trip?
So listen, there are probably 2, right? One is Japan, because Japan just blew my mind, right? The second one is probably my trip to, okay, first off, I went to Mexico, and I took to southern Mexico, Oaxaca State, and I took mushrooms, and I found God, right? No, but that's the most impactful trip because that changed my life, right? I was a hardcore atheist, and in that moment, everything changed for me. That's the most impactful. The second one was probably Iraq. Yeah, I would say that.
Why don't you apologize when you offend people in the class?
What's that?
Why don't you apologize when you offend people in the class?
I never realize I offend anybody in this class. I never think I'm offending anybody. Who do I offend? Have I ever offended
There have
anybody?
been multiple times where you say things and people call you out and you're like, oh, well, it's just because in my generation. You never say
Have
sorry.
I said that it's my generation in here? I don't think I ever said that in this semester. Talking
You're
about
literally
what?
doing, yeah.
Oh, drug helmet? That wasn't, because that's fucking not offensive. What? Wait, hang on. Drug helmet is offensive?
Yeah.
Fucking, seriously? All right, here, then let me say this, man. Oh my God. Okay, here, then I'm going to answer that question. Are you ready? Look. It's not about age, okay? It's not about age. But it is about just an unwillingness to give in, an unwillingness on my part to give in to this sense of socializing people. I don't even have an answer to that. Yeah. Dude, hang on. If drug helmet is offensive, dude, you want to know what almost leads me to stop teaching this class is shit like that. Right? Just really? God. Because here's the problem. Y'all don't understand. I can't I'm talking about race and ethnic relate. Do you know how many people I've offended in this class who you don't even know I've offended them because I say the same thing you say, or I think the same thing you think, or whatever it is, and you don't even know that that's offensive because that's just the world that you live in. But I'm living in another world. There's somebody up here who's really offended, but you're not, because you're like, yeah, that's cool, that's all right. And I'm like, well, why is it all right that they're offended and you're not? And then in your case, like, you're offended, but they're not. And so why is it okay for them not to be offended, but you're offended? You know what I mean? And so it's like, it doesn't matter what I do. If I just come in here and say hello, I'm offending. I could come in here and say, hola, ¿qué tal, amigos? And someone would be offended that I'm not speaking English. It's like, it doesn't matter. If I allowed myself to go to that place, I could never teach this class ever. And then or I could teach it, but it would be really boring, my friends. Really boring. So anyway, it's probably not an answer you want to hear, but like, whatever. That's my answer. Yeah, dude.
Right here, Sam. I'll stand up. I was curious what you believe the motives of people are. I'm someone who believes that...
What's that? Hold the mic closer.
I'm somebody that believes that all humans are kind of born selfish and acts like charity in themselves are inherently selfish because people do them for the good that they receive for participating in those actions. So I was curious if you would categorize humans as selfish, or
No.
and if not, how you would...
No, I think that, look, most humans are not... Look, most of our behaviors are self-interest, right? And you could call it selfish or not, but it's self-interested. Even when I help somebody, it's self-interest, right? Doesn't matter. If I give her $1 or whatever, it's self-interest because I want to do it. So it's all about that. Most of everything, I eat, I put my clothes on, I come to work, I do whatever the case is. It's like kind of self-motivated in a way, right? But just as often or more, but most of that self-interested behavior doesn't have any negative impact on anybody else. It's just me doing what I do. I'm standing here, now I'm going to stand here. Now I'm interested, it's all for myself. Just as often or more often, people are actually really kind and giving to other people. If you're walking down the stairs and I'm walking down the stairs, I see you and I move to the right. And you move to the right. We're being very communicative and you know what I mean? So I think human beings just as much are very not selfish at all. We're like really giving. We're very kind. There's very little conflict in the world. Yeah. Yeah. I would say that. Dude. By the way, sometimes there are things that I say or I learn over the years. Like for example, one of the things that's really about me is, like, you take that term, you're down to that, dude. You take like that term, so here, listen to this, right? The reason also I can do what I do is because I'm pushing up against things of being offensive, but I'm actually relative. If you think about everything I've said in this class all semester long and what I do and how I'm pushing ideas, how often am I offensive? Really? Think about everything that I'm doing. You know what I mean? How often am I? And the reason the answer is actually probably, relatively speaking, not very often. And the reason is because I take things and I hear things and I listen from new generations and I take it in and I work with it, right? So for example, yeah, it doesn't matter. So I don't know. Today I'm like, yeah, drug helmet. But maybe in a year I'll be like, okay, I won't say that anymore. But I'll have a reason for it. It will never be because somebody told me it was offensive. Therefore, I will stop saying it. No, it will be because I start to see things and I work with it and it's in my mind. I'm like, oh, all right, I got that. Let me work with it. Oh, okay, all right, I can see that. And then I go with it because I'm doing my own thinking. Yo, bro.
So do you think that
people nowadays, question, by the way.
You think people nowadays are too easily offended in our generation?
Well, I don't want to say that because the problem is it's like I'm like that old dude who's like, oh, young people today are so but we've created a world in which here, listen to this is my response. The most quick fix way of getting lots of people to get along, the quick fix way, right, is to tell them how to speak and how to act. So if I just tell you how to speak and how to act, this is what people ask me all the time. Hey, tell me, how do I talk to my students? I'm like, I don't know how you talk to your students. Like, well, what words am I allowed to say? The quick fix way is just tell me what I can say and what I can't say, and then I'll work with it, okay? What that means is that we've created a world in which anything that's outside of that becomes bad and then becomes offensive. So we live in a time right now where we've got lots of rules about how to act and how to speak and how to talk, about how to think about all these things, which means that we put people in boxes, and if they step outside those boxes, that means they're offensive and they've done something wrong. So yeah, we live in a time, it's not your generation, but we've created a time in which it is more problematic in that way. Yeah. Dude, man, hang on, bro. This is going to be really the... What's the dumb question? Oh, what can I tell you about heartbreaks? Yo, if you haven't had a heartbreak, you haven't lived. Man, that's what I would tell you. Please, wish for a heartbreak. Because you want to live your life with that you want to know what that is. Because that's part of being alive, man. God, you want to know what that is. Dude, final quick question.
So you just said earlier that you don't believe in free will. How do you reconcile that with your constant insistence on both the importance of chance but also choice?
Well, I don't believe in pure free will. All freedom is limited by the structures around us. So chance and choice go together. Freedom and determinism go together. The two are like really rocking right alongside of each other. Hey, listen, y'all. Listen, I just want to make the final statement. Here, listen up. If you're, so you got the attendance sheets, right? We're good? You got them up there? Are they at the top? Dude. Picked them up already? We're good? All right, man. If you're going to, hey, by the way, thanks for the semester. It was a good semester, right? And it might be the last one for any of us, so it's all good.